What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay. It's MLK Day, man. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody. It's Monday, January 16th, man. We're trying to get some cash here. We have our guy, sports betting legend, Rob Veno, here with us. Rob, obviously a game starts here pretty soon, Celtics versus Hornets. Just want to ask you real quick if you had any thoughts for the viewers on that. I believe it starts in about 10 minutes.
I didn't play, Jay. I came real close to playing over. I had this game over a couple of nights ago when they were just flying over at halftime, and Charlotte puts up 40 total in the second half. Boston decided to put the clamps down, and game fell a few short. I think it hit 228. So I was going to go that route, but when they play these early starts, right, 1 in the afternoon Eastern time, I don't know who's asleep, who's awake, and so it was a little rough to make a choice there, so I let it go.
No, that's a great point there, Rob. Obviously, with those early starts, I always say I kind of feel like they there's a little bit more value to the home teams, in my opinion, man. So I didn't make a play on the game. Obviously, it's super hard to trust the Hornets, but they do get a national TV game, NBA TV game here. They never really get a national TV game, but we got to have a couple of injuries. I know Cody Martin, he was back, but he is out for today, and Gordon Hayward as well. Celtics, obviously, they have everybody going. It's interesting. They're starting Horford and Williams in this game. I believe that's maybe the first time they're doing that all season. So kind of tinkering with the starting lineups there, starting two bigs with Horford and Robert Williams. And that one, like I said, I do lean to the Hornets in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept this game close, plus the 8.5, plus the 9 for the full game. I do think the super early start, like you said, who's going to be asleep, who's awake. I think the road teams usually. Personally, I think that they might be the one that's more on the sleepy side, but obviously the Celtics, one of the better teams in the NBA. The Hornets, probably one of the worst outside the Rockets, in my opinion. So me personally, I'd lean towards the Hornets in that one, especially with the revenge spot, home and home situation as well. And they were up in the first half of their last game as well. They came to play in the first half, so maybe it flips today, but I would lean to the Hornets plus the 8.5 in this one. But let's talk about another game here, Rob. This is what we're doing, breaking out all the NBA games, but we were just talking before air. Giannis is ruled out for this game. This line opened up at 11 last night. It was down to 10.5, 10 this morning. Now down to 6 here. Do you think that there's value in taking the Bucks minus 6 here? Obviously, Bucks without their best player, Pacers without their best player in Halliburton here, Rob. Would you trust the Pacers here plus the 6 with no Giannis?
I don't know that I trust the Pacers, Jay, just off of what we've seen without Tyrese Halliburton, right? He's been gone now for a couple of games, and in those 2 games, the offense has suffered. 39.6% from the field against Atlanta, and then come back with 36.9 against Memphis. So 2 games where they couldn't even shoot 40%, and I think it's dual fold, right? And at one, Halliburton's the guy who sets everybody up. And without him out there, I know Nembhard's a good young point guard, but still, and TJ McConnell's serviceable vet. I get it, but neither of them are Halliburton. And Tyrese Halliburton shoots such a high percentage. He only shoots good shots. He makes his shots. It's different without him in there. And we're seeing it. So until they get that, fixed. And you know what? By the time they get it fixed, Jay, Halliburton might be back. It might be 2 weeks before they get their offense rolling again, shooting a high percentage like they've done all season long. The Miles Turner question mark. I'm not sure if you have an update on him, but I had seen questionable on him. That's not helpful against the Bucks when you lose size. The Bucks, for what it's worth, you and I were on last Monday, and I came on here and spouted off some numbers about how the Bucks weren't playing defense, and they weren't. They had given up like 113 plus in 9 of their last 11. But I don't know. Coach Bud must have had something to say to these guys because they played 4 consecutive unders, and the defense has gotten way better. With the exception of last game against Miami, which was those back-to-backs in Miami where, they sat more than just Giannis on Saturday, and they gave up 51%. But prior to that, 3 straight games, 45% or less. That's much more like the Bucks defense. I think that side's coming around a little bit here, Jay. So, they played with Giannis plenty before, right? I don't know that we have to fear Milwaukee in a favorite spot without him. But I don't think I could get to Indiana until I see the offense getting better shots and making more shots.
No, that's a good point right there. And obviously, when you could have got them at the plus 10, plus 11, it's hard to take the worst line here. You always worry about as well. Okay, no Giannis out. Let's not play our best game as well. I like to say it's Pacers or nothing for me in this one. I don't want the Bucks without Giannis. This is their 3rd straight game without him. What's crazy, in the first game versus Miami, they came out there with a really strong effort. to start the game, and then they just lost it or whatever. So I don't want the Bucks without Giannis, man. Obviously, that's their best player by far. I do think that they're top heavy as well. It's Giannis, even when Giannis is out there, it's him and like he's having to do most of the production. So that's why when he's out, spread out spread out between everybody else. First game of back to back. They got the Raptors tomorrow as well. So I don't know what to do with this game. I'm definitely not betting now. I'd still lean Pacers plus the 6, but obviously lost a ton of value at that one. You could have got a plus the double digits then. That's where you should be licking your chops right now. But with it going down to this 6, I still lean Pacers, but not enough for me to bet it. They basically this has to be a winnable game for the Pacers. Like they need to win for me to be taking that plus 6. So it's a tough one, guys. Obviously, you always worry about the element of the star player out. Oh, the game is big now. So let's head over here to the streets of Cleveland here, Rob. We have the Cavs laying 7 points at the house versus the New Orleans Pelicans in this one. Cavs first game home off of a 5-game road trip where they only went 2-3. Now the Pelicans this is the last game of their 5-game road trip here as well. So two kind of spots where we like to fade teams, but they're facing each other here. It makes me kind of lean towards the dogs here, Rob. I'd lean Pelicans plus the 7, but probably not enough to bet. What do you think about maybe a possible under spot here with two defensive teams?
Yeah, I think the point you just led with, Jay, was the point I would have led with. The scheduling is strange here, right? I mean, for the Pelicans, their 5-game has been spread out a little bit. This will be 10 days, 5 games, and they haven't played in 3. So they got plenty of rest here, which Cleveland doesn't, right? Cleveland comes off the 5-game, like you say, they got yesterday off, but then they have to get right back out there again for a 3:10 in the afternoon start. I mean, so it's not really like having the full rest actually for a day off. You take the flight home, you get home, and then you got to do shoot around is usually at 11 a.m. Now you're playing at 3 p.m. So I think Cleveland's at a disadvantage here, to tell you the truth, because of that scheduling. So for that reason, I'd probably look New Orleans. The Cavs have been a pretty good over team as of late, 9-4 over the number last 13. And if you bet New Orleans, you're betting right into that really good home record of the Cavaliers, right? They've been great at home, 68.2% cover. That's hard to stand in front of. They've been miserable on the road, only 35%. So you can see the difference. They like to be at the house. New Orleans, on the other hand, when they're away from home, they're a great over team. So you start matching up. Cleveland's been 9-4 over last 13. New Orleans 15-6 over away from home. Those games average 235, which is better than the number we're looking at here. I don't know. If it wasn't 3:10 in the afternoon, I might be on over here, Jay. But if it was a regular Monday night game, I guarantee you, $9 Monday would have my name attached to this play. But 3:10 in the afternoon, just a little scary to see what Cleveland might be able to put up here offensively. I know Mitchell and Garland, great guard tandem. I don't know. I couldn't play it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a great point there, actually, man. With the, like you said, because them coming home off their road trip, only 1 day off, then you don't even really get that full day of rest or that full the full day of today to get primed and ready for this game as well. So even more of a sleepy spot for the Cavs. I know me personally, I could only look towards Pelicans plus the points in this one, man. Mixed guys in the chat. Like I say, maybe under is even a better spot because my only problem with the Pelicans is when they're missing Zion and they're missing Brandon Ingram, they're missing those extra offensive ball handlers. And basically it's just CJ McCollum out there and Jose Alvarado at the bench. He's really like a defensive guy. I know he's a point guard, but he's not one of the best type of guys as far as setting up his teammates in this one. So I'd lean Pelicans plus a 7, and I'd lean even more to the under because these are two really good defensive teams, and we know the Pelicans are going to try to slow it down here. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Cavs came out kind of sleepy in this one offensively. Lean under, lean Pelicans in this one, but not strong enough for me to bet this one. Let's go ahead over here to the streets of New York here, Rob, where we have the Knicks laying 2/2.5 points at the house versus the Raptors in this one. I mean, Van Fleet questionable with the back injury, right, and probably close to being traded as well. I am hearing that the Raptors will make some moves before the trade deadline, but we'll see what happens. And they play the Bucks tomorrow here, Rob. Knicks playing a lot better, but they are on a back-to-back and third game in 4 nights, coming in off two. With this being an early start, do you think it hurts the Knicks here, Rob?
I'm not so sure. There's a couple of home courts today, Jay, where and I don't have anything to back this up. All right, I should have gone through numbers, Martin Luther King Day results when they were at home, but to me, two home courts where I would be on the or at least I would use in my handicap as a positive, home on Martin Luther King Day, New York City and Atlanta. Those two places I think would be huge. And both of those teams happen to be home today. But again, there's no statistical stuff that I have in front of me to back that up. That's just gut feeling. Where Toronto's concerned, this isn't gut feeling. Their defense has been garbage, right? And it's hard to figure them, Jay, right? 3-game win streak, 3-game lose streak. I think you said it last week when we were talking. Who knows what they're doing? Are they at this point tanking because they're not really a playoff contender? And you just mentioned they're looking to trade pieces. So I don't know what's going on here with them, but I know this: 12 of their last 15 games, the opponent has shot 47% or better from the floor. 8 of those 15, they've shot 51% or better. 2 real slow-paced teams, but they've played twice in the last 27 days. They split them, but where total is concerned, those games hit 220 and 219. Today's price, 218. So, I'm not in the business of betting against that razor-thin margin here. I would like to say I'd be on over because Toronto can't play D, and because the first 2 games hit 219 and 220, but it's too close to call here. Where Fred VanVleet is concerned, my first reaction is he's addition by subtraction. But then I look at the 2 games he played against the Knicks and 28 points on December 21st, 28 points on January 6th. He got 56 points against these guys, and that's not replaceable, I don't think. I mean, Gary Trent Jr. could go off, but as bad as VanVleet has been for the majority of this season, shooting the basketball, he's been good scoring against the Knicks. The Knicks' size advantage kind of goes away against Toronto. But again, I think, I don't know how to handicap Toronto. Do I handicap them as, wow, Anunoby, Siaka, and the team that we knew? Or do I handicap them as the team that's, on the current miserable streak and is so up and down that they're unpredictable? If I were to play, Jay, I'd be on Knicks. I think Knicks at home, probably better 48 minutes out of them. But I don't know what to make of Toronto. That makes it hard when you're guessing at what you're getting for an opponent. It's so hard to handicap.
No, I'm right there with you. I can only look towards the home team here. I know the rest disadvantage. You always get I'm not betting the Raptors on the road. I can tell you that right now. They got hot at the house, right? 6 straight games at the house. But then when they dropped the last game versus Atlanta, you're laying 7.5 points. I believe it was a revenge spot as well, and all this stuff. And you still end up losing the game, right? And they were at they had the rest advantage. They caught the Hawks on a back-to-back, laying 7.5, and they basically lost that game from wire to wire. So you always worry when you're about to get traded as well. You don't want to get hurt, so you don't want to play your hardest. I'm worried about VanVleet. I'm worried about the Raptors, especially on the road as well. I'm not taking here. I can only look towards the Knicks. Don't like that they're at the rest disadvantage. They played a game yesterday as well. Not the full 24 hours of rest or whatever, all that. But the Knicks are playing too well right now for me to bet against them at the house. I'd lean to the Knicks -2 here at the house, my guys. Let's head over here to the streets of Washington, D.C. here, Rob. We have the Wizards getting 3.5 points at the house versus the Warriors. I was thinking that Bill would be back. He was upgraded to questionable. He's been practicing or whatever. He was clear to play or whatever, but he's still out here with the hamstring. We know that it can be something that's lingering there. Now the Warriors, we know that they're not the greatest team on the road. They're on a back-to-back as well, going from Chicago up to Washington. What do you think happens in this game, Rob? I really would have liked the Warriors to win yesterday. That I'd be fading the mess out of them today. They didn't know. They lost. They got smacked up yesterday. Do you think that they bounce back here today, or can the Wizards get them?
Yeah, I'm going to back up real quick here, Jay, just for your followers, people that are watching us here, people that will watch us later on. Where the Knicks are concerned, RJ Barrett, I should have mentioned this. He's been back for 3 games off of injury. And the Knicks are 3-0 straight up and against the spread with Barrett back. So Randall and how come I'm missing the point guard now?
Brunson.
Yeah, she's spazzed out on Brunson. But they've got their health back. So 3-0 ATS with RJ Barrett back. This game is interesting. I would have loved to have seen Beal back with Monty Morris in the backcourt. Washington's off a horrendous shooting game, on Friday night where Kyle Kuzma goes for 40, but the rest of the team goes 22 of 66 from the floor, only shoot 33%. They don't shoot well from 3. It was Kuzma and nobody else in support the other night. I think it's interesting that the Warriors in a back-to-back here, Jay, only chose to rest Klay Thompson. Normally, when we see this team on a back-to-back with travel, they're resting everybody. But here, Steph's going to play, and Wiggins is going to play. Everybody's going to play. And it just, to me, it signals a little bit of desperation. Like, we got to win one of these things.
I'm right there.
And so I'm thinking that they're probably the right side. The price is cheap enough, and we don't like the Warriors on the road. And we are betting into some negative trends here on the season. But if you just read between the lines, and again, this is, you know, you can come on here. I come on here and spout off a lot of numbers a lot of times that build a case, right? But there's a lot of times where as handicappers, you have to read and feel, and gut feeling counts as much as statistics do a lot of time. To me, I think the Warriors want this game. I think Steph's here for a reason. Washington probably shoots better today than 38% because the Warriors don't play a lot of defense. But again, Draymond, Wiggins, and Looney, their defensive guys are in the game. So I don't know. I think I have a slight lean towards the Warriors here at the short price.
I couldn't talk you off here, Rob. I wanted to take Wizards here. And I'm right there with you. I feel like if the Warriors won yesterday's game and got over that hump, they would have rested Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, and probably Draymond today. That's what I was looking for. But it flipped, right? When they got blown out in the second half, it was basically a no-show. That's when it's like, okay, now Steph's going to play. When I see Steph going to play, that tells me everything I need to know. So like I say, they supposed to be resting here. The schedule lost, but with yesterday's loss, now they're probably going for the win here. I'm right there with Rob. With everybody playing, it kind of tells you that the Warriors are really going for the win here. Now, will they still win? That remains to be seen. But Wizards do have 2 days off, rest advantage here as well. Warriors, third game in 4 nights on the road or whatever, back-to-back, all that good stuff, and have the Celtics on deck. So, but they do have 2 days off before they play the Celtics. It's a tough game for me to figure out. I wanted to take Wizards here heavy, but I thought it was going to be a spot where the Warriors rest their guys. Looks like they're going for this one, so I'm off of this game in this one, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Atlanta here, Rob. This is my play of the day. I'm on the Hawks in this one, +1, flying with the Hawks. Like them in the first half as well, man. They've lost 3 straight home games. I know it's not the best situation, them coming off a few games on the road. They had a 4-game road trip, came home for 1 game versus Milwaukee without, I believe Trae Young sat out in that game, and then they went out for 2 more on the road. Now they're back home. I fully believe the Hawks in their little losing streak at the house. They're starting to play a lot better. Interdivisional game as well versus the Heat, and they've already lost the one earlier this year. So revenge spot, lost last 3 at the house. You need this game. Give me the Hawks here +1 on MLK Day. I believe they show out here for Martin Luther King Jr. And they play different on MLK Day for whatever reason. 4-0 against the spread last 4 Martin Luther King Day specials, and 3-1 straight up as well. And that one, I like the Hawks to get this win over the Heat in this one. Rob, how you like this game?
Man, I thank you for bringing those stats out, because about 10 minutes ago, I said New York City and Atlanta were 2 MLK home courts I'd like to play, but I didn't have the stats. You just busted them out. 4-0 shows you that it's meaningful in Atlanta, right? It's really meaningful to win on this particular day. So I'm with you. And, you know, it's hard to say this for fact, Jay, but recent games show that maybe Nate McMillan is drilling home a little bit of defensive presence out of the Hawks. The Hawks have played unders in 5 of their last 6, and their defense has been better. And it's strange that they're not a good defensive team, because they do have individual good defenders, right? DeJounte Murray's a good defender. DeAndre Hunter's a good defender. Clint Capella in the middle, although he's a little short, he's still an active and good defender. And what they've gotten out of Okongwu in the middle in the last few games has been great without Capella. So now they've got like a 2-headed monster at center, which, you know, off of those back-to-backs, Bam Adebayo had nice games against Milwaukee, but he's going to have to contend with some physical resistance in the middle here today, and guys that are just as agile as he is. So I think the matchups work for Atlanta here. Miami's been a great under team this month, 6-1 under. So I just got done saying Atlanta's 5-1 under last 6. It would point you towards under 223. And if you go through those game scores for Miami, the only time they've touched 223 was a game against OKC, which will just run you to death. Atlanta's, they're pace, but they're not OKC pace. You know, they can be methodical in half court as well. So maybe under. I've seen it come down a little bit to 222, but more than the under, I think I like Atlanta. I just think it's a good spot for them. I did look at conference standings. You talked about the division, the revenge. And if you just go through conference standing, this is an opportunity for Atlanta to find their way, up a couple of rungs here and out of this play-in stuff, because Indiana's without Halliburton right now. That's one of the teams they're chasing. So if they can win while Indiana loses, these guys do look ahead in schedule too. So I like the Hawks here. I'm with you.
I like the Hawks. This one, top play of the day. I'm taking them first half plus a half. But the top play of this full game is the top play is full game in this one plus the 1 as well. I fully believe the Hawks are going to come out here and start early and finish as well, guys. So I like the Hawks early and often in this one, but my money's on Hawks full game plus the 1. Like the money line as well, and on the first half as well plus the half in this one, guys. Flying with the Hawks on MLK Day in this one. 4-0 ATS last 4 MLKs. Let's make it 5-0 one time for the one time, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Minnesota here. We got the Wolves laying 2 points at the house versus the Jazz here. Rob, obviously, Rudy Gobert is game time decision. He left last game, didn't come back here. He used to play for the Jazz. Obviously, in this one, Jazz coming off their loss. Marketing questionable as well. Probably end up plays in this one. Wolves beat them already in Utah. That was with no marketing in that game. I remember we was all over the Wolves. Now they come home. Wolves are starting to get hot, man. They've won 6 of the last 7 games here, Rob. Do you think they keep it going today versus the Utah Jazz?
You probably saw this the other night, Jay, when Minnesota won that game against Cleveland 110-102. The emotion on their sidelines. I never thought I'd see Minnesota so excited to play good defense in all my life, right? I mean, Anthony Edwards is waving the towel around, and they're stifling Cleveland at the end to secure that game in the final minute. And all of a sudden, it made me go back and just say, well, how good has Minnesota been playing defensively? And for Minnesota, by their standards, their defense has been terrific. 15 of their last 16 games, nobody shot 50% against them. That's crazy. Minnesota used to give that up on a daily basis, but now you get those guys starting to think on the defensive end. And no matter how many guys are injured for the Timberwolves, I feel like they're always going to be able to score. It's the other end of the court that's bothersome for them. Markkanen may come back in this one. I don't know that I trust Minnesota to win by a huge margin, but I know that they're an excited team right now. And I know that Utah is – I talked before about teams that are kind of unpredictable and they're hard to handicap when I was talking about Toronto. Utah's pretty easy to handicap. Going to bring the same thing every night. Going to bring guys that can score, a little team that you can push around a little bit. They want to play finesse. If they shoot lights out, they'll beat you. But right now, I'm not sure I want to play against Minnesota, and I'm not sure I want to play anything over with Minnesota. And the odds makers are still pricing their totals as if it's the old Minnesota. 235 to me seems a bit too high here, Jay. Middle of the day, again, I'll use that as part of the handicap. It's not a night game. It's something these guys are unaccustomed to doing, playing in the middle of the afternoon. I think under 235 is probably the right way, just based off of the excitement I saw out of the Timberwolves players to play defense the other night.
Yeah, that's a good point there. Yeah, I actually think that these matinees and stuff really go well for the home team, in my opinion, man. Like I said, you get to sleep in your own bed, home cooking, right? You're a little bit more into your routine, whereas on the road, you're way off your routine. You don't really have as much time to get acclimated to the arena, all that good stuff, man. Waking up, you know how it is, waking up yawning and stuff, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if the home teams really went. I'm not sure how many games it is, went 6-2 or something straight up today and against the spread. So but this is a game where the Wolves just basically need to win the game with how hot they've been playing, and they're at the house consecutive games as well. They're just in the same gym. I think the Wolves keep it going here. Rob said it. They're excited to play with each other right now, even though the Russell stuff is going on. They're the team that's definitely moving in the right direction, in my opinion. And I think that the Jazz are moving in the opposite direction. So two teams moving in opposite directions here. If I had another game where I'm making a top play in, it would be Wolves -2, guys. I was really close to it. I just didn't end up betting it. I'm really trying to see if, what I'm saying, we got some luck today with these Hawks, man. But I would bet the Wolves -2, guys. That's the only way that I look in this game. Heavily lean to killed the Wolves in that one, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis here. We got the Grizzlies laying 10 points at the house versus the Suns in this one, Rob. Little revenge spot. Last time the two teams faced off, the Suns smacked them in Memphis as well, but they still did have Chris Paul in. Basically, no point guard for the Suns. Not necessarily sure how they're going to keep up here offensively. Don't like how they're playing with us. Ja Morant questionable. I don't see why the hell Ja Morant wouldn't play in this game. TNT game on MLK Day. The Grizzlies are another team that shows up. They play every single MLK Day, Rob. And it's something that they take pride in as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies cast the trifecta spot in this one, Rob. How you looking at this game?
Yeah, I can't look Phoenix. That's for sure. And I was surprised as heck when I was going through stuff last night to see Ja Morant's name pop up on the injury report. For what reason? You know, I just got finished watching highlights of him dunking unbelievably on somebody the other night where he yanked it all the way back. I mean, he's incredible. I can't see him not playing, Jay, and I kind of handicapped it that way with him. And they're getting Dylan Brooks back for this game, which puts their entire lineup intact if Ja goes. The revenge angle that you pointed out is something that I used as well. I know Memphis is they're one of those teams that they don't forget a lot of that stuff. They got that elephant type memory, you know, they hold grudges, and there's teams that they don't like. And I think that they didn't like getting smacked around by Phoenix. Now, to just go on the other side of this, right? You got to have two sides to make a firm commitment on a bet. But Phoenix shot 61% from three in their last game. I mean, their offense has been hideous with all these injuries. They're not even hitting 100 points. But the other night they get 116. And it's because, like I say, 60.7 from three. That's not happening again. I mean, if it does, it's a freak of nature. And, you know, you take your loss. But I don't think it's happening here against a fired up Memphis team. I was reading a report this morning that was interesting where it said that Memphis is one of those teams that shows up every single game with energy. And they really do. You know, like you were talking about Milwaukee. Milwaukee's kind of, yeah, we'll turn it on today. Yeah, we're not going to play so hard tomorrow. Memphis isn't that way. I think there'll be all engines going here this afternoon against the Phoenix Suns. And I think that's another great point you made. I never even really thought about Memphis, Tennessee as being one of those regions of the country that would be really, really important on this day. So if I add that in, I know it's a big number, but I don't think you have to be scared of it because Phoenix hasn't cracked 100 points in 6 of their last 8. So Memphis usually good for 120. I think the Grizzlies are the right side here.
Yeah, and I think they start off early as well, man. I think when the Grizzlies start off hot, they start off early. The home crowd is behind them as well, and I could just see a scenario where they come out and get up by double digits and don't look back. The Suns obviously don't have enough offense to stay in this game as well. So not sure why Ja Morant's on the injury report. I think he plays, but who knows? Giannis was probable as well. He's probable for the last few days, and then they announced him out. So we never know what's going to happen. I really do think there's some injury report manipulation. They just trying to at least trying to get some money on the Suns here. But I'll be honest, even without Ja Morant, they could probably still smoke the Suns in this one, especially revenge spot as well. So Grizzlies first half, full game, guys. That's the only way I can look at this game. Heavily leaning. We'll see how the Hawks game go, but I fully believe that the Grizzlies will be up by 10 points at the end of this first quarter, and I don't think that they let the Suns come back in this. So I think they'll put their foot on their necks. Grizzlies trifecta. That's my heavily leans in this game. If I had a third game where I was feeling super strongly about, it's this one, guys. Grizzlies. I see them taking these Suns to Smack City in this one. Last game up here. Let's go to the streets of LA here, Rob. We got the Lakers laying 5.5 points versus the Rockets in this one. I believe right now, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., all these guys on the injury report now. Green should be back for sure. I think he was just suspended for one game. Porter Jr., I think he's kind of really injured here. But simply put, third game in 4 nights, back-to-back, and fourth game in 6 nights, all on the road for the Rockets here, Rob. Do they have anything left in the tank here, or do you think the Lakers get the win over the Rockets here?
Well, you know what? They're young enough to not definitively say there's nothing left in the tank, Jay, but it's probably really low at this point, right? Even as young as they are. I would say this. After watching the Lakers-Philadelphia game last night, 113-112, if this wasn't Martin Luther King Day and if this wasn't an isolated 10:40 start on the East Coast, 7:40 Pacific, which I believe is going to be televised, then I really think LeBron would sit out this game. But he's not going to sit out on MLK Day with the TV cameras on. There's just no way. He and Russell Westbrook, I tell you what, And I'm going to go off the rails here for just a second, Jay. I don't want to increase the length of our show by too much, but I'm going to go off the rail because living here in the Philadelphia area, the home team announcers are brutal. Now, Ala Abdelnaby, ex-Duke player, ex-NBA player, is the analyst here, and he went on and on for 4 quarters about, the Russell Westbrook struggles, and I don't even know why he came to LA. And it's as if the guy doesn't watch a game, because the last 3 weeks, Russell Westbrook has been fantastic. And another triple-double right in front of the guy's eyes while he's courtside last night, and he still wants to rip Russell Westbrook. So, the Lakers are playing fast. I kind of like their team total in this game. I think that, to your point about Houston having nothing left in the tank, the offensive legs, maybe they don't make shots, but they don't play defense to begin with. And I think that Los Angeles probably gets their fill of points in this one. Now, the one thing you hope for, if you're going to make that bet, is that this game doesn't get carried away and it's not a 28-point game in the end of third quarter where everybody goes to the bench. But even still, feel like the Lakers, maybe first half team total is even better with the Lakers in this game, right? As I talk through this, I think I'll probably be on one of those in some way, shape, or form. So maybe first half team total, like I say, is even better in this game. And maybe first half full total. If Houston has anything left, it'll be first half, gas out second half, and, the route could be on there. But that's the way I'm looking at it, Jay. I just think the Lakers will have their lineup, and I think they'll score here.
It's so crazy, Rob, because yesterday the Rockets had the lead through the first quarter and the first half, right? Then in the fourth quarter, they get smoked. I think they scored 10 points in the fourth quarter.
Right.
30. I think they got outscored 30 to 10 in the fourth quarter. How did you score 10 points? Man, look, it's crazy because they were getting 9.5, 10 points. They were covering the spread the whole game. And then the Clippers go out there and win the game 121-100. You don't usually see stuff like that, man, where they go out there and win the game by 20 points literally in the fourth quarter there. So this Rockets team is not a real basketball team in my opinion. Rob, you're right. We got to find some type of way to hop on the Lakers. The refs screwed them off last night as well. Westbrook got fouled on that last play, and I didn't read the last 2-minute report, but I'm pretty sure the refs looked at that like, damn, he probably should have been called for a foul there, which probably could have won the game for the Lakers there. A couple free throws, right? They lost by 1 point, so there was a huge no call there. You would know how the refs usually kind of how to help the team out that they screwed over last game. So Rockets, I could really see that happening here, Rob. Team total overs for the Lakers. I could see the Lakers getting there as well. Rockets, they're just not a real basketball team to me, my guys. But let's get out of here, man. We broke down all the plays. Now it's time to get to some free picks in this one, Rob. Let the people know what you got going over at Wager Talk. Obviously, it's $9 Monday, as it is every Monday over at Wager Talk. Tomorrow's going to be $2 Tuesday as well. No promo code needed for that. But Rob, what do you have going at Wager Talk and any free picks for us today on the show?
Yeah, real quick, Jay. I mean, we are doing an NBA show and we cover the NBA each and every day, but there is one NFL playoff game left. And if you fly over to wagertalk.com right now, you'll get my $9 release on tonight's Dallas-Tampa Bay game, along with a top play here in the NBA for this evening. There's one college basketball play coming as well. I've started the last, let's say, 7 to 10 days, Jay, starting to focus in on college basketball a little more because college football is over. So we do have action up there. Again, $9 Monday, a great time to try out any handicapper up there. My selections are there. If you just want to take advantage of the free analysis and video work that Wager Talk does every single day. In fact, I'll be on an NBA show later over there. You can just drop your email address in and become a member for free. And then just tune in every single day to whatever sport you like. NFL, college basketball, NBA, NHL, it doesn't matter. UFC. We got guys covering UFC. So you can get free analysis each and every day, wagertalk.com. For show purposes, Jay, I'm going to go back to what we were just talking about. I just feel like the Lakers are going to put the pedal to the metal here as far as point production is concerned. And Houston really puts up little resistance, right? They really don't. So give me over Lakers team total. I'm just looking here. The full game is 120.5. The first half is 62. I'm going to go full game here. I think they get well over 120. Houston's very well versed in giving up over 120. So give me Lakers team total over 120 for purposes of the show.
Man, I couldn't talk you out of a Lakers team trifecta team total over. You talking about CC2 at the first half? I like that as well, man. I think that's going to be points. They like to run a gun. Rockets aren't going to really stand in their way and play much defense. They're probably going to run out of gas in the second half as well. I'd look at Lakers first half team total and full game team total, and they'll win, Rob. And really could talk you off the Lakers as well in this one. Maybe wait to see who's going to play for on both sides. You might get a little bit better number. Open at 6.5, down to 5.5. But for me today, guys, I'm rocking with the Hawks plus the 1 full game, and I'm taking them first half as well, plus the half in this one. Nothing's guaranteed. The Hawks are the greatest team in NBA as well, guys. So if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. But that's what I'm going with. That's my top game of the day. The other couple other games that I do like, but I didn't bet. I really like the Grizzlies trifecta spot, man. First quarter, first half, full game. I didn't end up getting there. We're gonna see how this Hawks game play out, but I do think that's a spot that's worth betting in my opinion. I think the Grizzlies get up by 10 after the first quarter and don't look back in those Suns. And I'd heavily lean to the Wolves as well at the house. Obviously, you need to wait to see who's going to play on both sides, but Wolves are playing some really great basketball right now at the house. They're balling out. I definitely lean the Wolves way, guys. So Hawks, first half, full game for me, top plays, but also heavily lean to the Wolves and the Grizzlies trifecta, guys. We appreciate your guys' time as well for checking out the show. 50% off shirts over at the site, jmoneyismoney.com. Use promo code We Will Win, my guys, because we will win. Let's get this cash. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well, and become a member as well. I will be doing a members only show tonight for some early looks for tomorrow's games, guys. So let's get some cash. We out, guys. Let's cash.